Innocence Game by Easy Grace. The entire path that you travel is a search for a diamond that was buried at the bottom of your heart. There is no path, nor there is a traveler. There is only an illusion of the search, which is caused by a disconnection of your heart from your head. Stop for a moment and see. The real world is full of people searching for the diamonds of their hearts. They pursue their search in art galleries and shopping malls, in dark cellars of buildings and in meanders of subconsciousness, in fanfares of thrilling experiences, and in cinema malls of maxi projections. In the centers of life gambles, on the highways of dreams, in depths of non-existing oceans of melancholy, in the centers of life gambles, on the highways of dreams, in depths of non-existing oceans of melancholy, in the farthest corners of the worlds of complex ideas. Those who invested in long-term bank deposits of defining reality unambiguously pursue their search in a sense of power, in the accurate titles and successes, or in bodily and mental diseases. Or they locate their funds on accounts that guarantee solid, gradual growth rate of their egos. They use ready-made building blocks and easily available construction materials. For instance, they choose proven and commonly accepted roles, such as a doctor or a priest, or the roles that guarantee multiply benefits and compassion. They adopt a role of a very ill person or a victim of violence. So often people arrange their whole life around their roles, every day dreaming the same very familiar dream. Those who are hedonistically oriented are looking for the lost diamond in the fleeting sense pleasures such as aesthetic visual experiences, sound harmonies, or in the sensual pleasures of another's body's touch. Or they stimulate their bored senses with travels, or by changing their partners, friends, jobs, or their image. Others, who by nature prefer crossing the borders of socially accepted roles, pursue their search in shamanic ritual, psychoactive drugs, trance rhythms, in a surrender to a guru, asceticism and long meditations, or in sophisticated diets, in assuming a tribal image or an ostentatious neglect of their image, which in itself becomes their image. They get stuck in a compulsive need to satisfy their need for admiration and feeling of sense of unity with others and the nature, not realizing, however, that they rely on external stimuli to maintain that state. Human beings have reached both distant galaxies and the nucleus of an atom. They explored the space outside their bodies and inside their minds, and they still, with a passion of a knight who fights with 100-headed dragon, toiling by the sweat of their brows and struggling with gales of icy fate, they are trying to find the lost diamond in all those places where it does not exist. All these travelers are so busy with their search that they cannot see that the object of their search is the same thing that they hide from themselves a long time ago in the center of the universe, in their hearts. Can you see this paradox? Are you free here and now to see that there is nothing to be found? This is truly the only thing that you can do. Remain with this insight. Stop for a moment and look deeply into your tired eyes and your beautiful heart. For a moment, stop searching for anything. Allow, dear warrior, for a battlefield dust to settle. The dust of your illusion that you exist and the world exists. That you exist inside and the world exists outside. How is it possible that I am the world, you could ask? And how is it possible that you are not the world? Are the dying fish in a poisoned ocean not you? Is the shopkeeper who sells you bread every day not you? Is it not you who sings a song of birds every evening? Is it really not you who shines the sun and who falls the stars? Can you be absolutely certain that it's not true? You didn't want to know that, because it would mean having a too great responsibility. The voice inside you, the same that continuously forces you to search, has been telling you so far that it is not your business what is happening to the oceans or to the other people, to birds, bees, and all the more to sun. You have got plenty of your own problems, and you are confused enough about how to care of your own happiness. You and your life. But can you be absolutely certain that your happiness does not depend on the happiness of birds and the happiness of the entire planet? Do you have the right to claim that the happiness of cosmos does not depend on the happiness of that tiny planet called Mother Earth? Are you really not responsible for the happiness of your own mother and for the rape that is being committed on her body? You could easily see that interdependence and would take all into your heart, and you would take the responsibility for your knowledge about the lack of separation with gratitude and a sign of relief. Had it not been for a demon of Satan of psyche that is wreaking havoc in your troubled head. His name is guilt, and his weapon is the search for innocence. You are constantly proving that you are not guilty, and he is constantly proving that there is so much that you can be accused of. This is an elaborately constructed, multi-level labyrinth. You keep on getting better and better at roaming the paths of the labyrinth, while he is becoming increasingly skilled at building new walls and corridors. This game is endless. However, there is a solution here: to wake up. Only when you consciously raise above the labyrinth of feeling the guilt can you see the labyrinth itself, as well as all those who are racing through its corridors. By admitting your guilt for the whole world, you can immediately obtain an absolute innocence. There is no other way. Otherwise, we would remain as children. Children constantly need their parents. They need someone who will show something to them, who will repair things or provide an assurance. Children don't take responsibility. By becoming the Word, you are becoming God. When you are this Word, you are responsible for the tragic extinction of dinosaurs, painful collisions of Mother Earth with meteors, opium wars in China, atrocities of World Wars First and Second, government of European Union, and the global damage of the sense of security caused by the attack on World Trade Center. Concepts such as they and others just disappear. There is only you everywhere, in the balance of your versions, images, and variations. God does not need support or mercy from anyone. Yet, He is everything in everything, and He creates the innocence of everything from the aroma of His knowledge. Are you ready for it here and now? Are you ready to admit your innocence by accepting the responsibility for the sins of the world? Forget that there was a man in the past who did this for everybody else once and for all. The paradox of Jesus is that He did it for everyone, but He did it for Himself. At the same time, He died for you, thus setting an example for you. He did it also for you, but being you in the same way as He was everybody else. However, He could not take over your responsibility. He could not apply His awakening to anyone else, to accept the sins of the world instead of you. He could not become Jesus instead of you, because then you would be innocent without taking any responsibility for it. Here is the best kept secret of the world, something that they don't teach about Jesus on religion classes. Jesus did not die to save us from the sin or expiate our guilt. Jesus did not do that dirty work. Jesus showed how to be Jesus. This is so that you could become Him as soon as you possibly can. Note that the whole story of crucifixion is a story of guilt and innocence. Would Jesus remain without guilt if He decided to avoid this crucifixion? Would He be able to continue His teaching without accepting the sin of the world? Was His innocence dependent on others, or was He the only one who could confirm it? If He was not the one with God, would He be able to say, "Not my will, but yours be done"? Here is another paradox. He was able to say that only after He had decided to die as a small self and after His union with the higher self that He had recognized. He was able to say that because He stopped negotiating with Satan and He stopped proving His own innocence. Did Jesus really die? You must answer this question in your own through your deep contemplation. Nobody else will answer this question for you. Innocence. What is this state? Have you ever asked this question to yourself? Every newborn baby is innocent. Who and when makes the baby guilty? But let us reverse this question and ask who or what makes the baby innocent. The answer is the state of grace. A child is innocent because it exists in the state of grace and it has not encountered a demon of thinking yet. Therefore, Satan of Psyche has no foundation to build his intricate corridors. A child exists in a state of pure existence until it learns to form thoughts, and in particular, the thoughts about its own self. Then, slowly, brick by brick, a construction of separation is built. And with a persistent help from parents and grandparents, the child builds an illusion of the necessity of satisfy others, owing something to them, or in other words, an obligation is created. Can you recall that unpleasant moment when someone told you for the first time that there was something wrong with you? Who was it? Was it an adult who was close to you, or one of your siblings, or someone of your age, or a priest, or a teacher? How come you gave them the power to decide who you are? Who decided that bringing you up in a sense of guilt was the right thing to do? Why could you not decide about this on your own? As a matter of fact, the answers to these questions are irrelevant. These questions are just koans. They are not being asked to get a liberating answer. They are being asked just for the sake of asking, so that your sense of guilt can be permanently removed from the bonds of obviousness. The answers have a minor importance. What matters is the very fact of asking these questions. You can also remain in the question. However, do not spend too much effort on this. The power of the alchemic change is found not in the answer, but in the acceptance of the events. So, this is what happened. Someone decided in the past that you were guilty, and you believed in that. But now, it's also irrelevant. When you see it now, you can just admit that, because of some serious reason, you and they created together this reality. The world with a sense of guilt and blame, defensiveness and accusations. The world of punishment and reward. The world that was divided into being right and wrong. The world without responsibility. The world of resentment and apologies. The world of manipulations and games. Now, however, imagine what would happen if tomorrow every human being on the earth woke up having forgotten all that is wrong with him or her. What would happen if suddenly everyone suffered from amnesia of feeling the sense of guilt and stopped agonizing themselves for the old mistakes? What would happen if people stopped blaming others? What world would we have if everyone on that day forgot what projection they had to pass to their neighbors in order to get rid of the demons of the elect guilt? What a day would it be if all people saw in their mirrors in the morning nothing else but their shining beauty that does not require to be improved, and if they saw the unforgotten uniqueness. Can you imagine that? Can you see a pretty TV presenter with an honest smile announcing in an enthusiastic tone of voice that the world went on fire of love, which is instantly ravaged all worries of loneliness, pain of separation, frustration with injustice, depressing humiliation, market wars, country wars, prison supervision and court sentences? Can you hear joyful radio presenters saying that there is no more need to believe anyone in the existence of terrorists, divorces, corporations, and slaughterhouses? Would it make sense to you if people would then flooded the streets, but not to protest or rush to work, but to express their joy? Out of such excess of kindness, everyone would want to hug their neighbor. Women would emanate their beauty, decorating their hair with flowers, and swinging their hips. Men would treat the body of earth freely and gracefully, and would stop and look at the women with admiration, but without a desire to have them. The young ones would bow to the older ones. They would tip their hats and extend a helpful hand. Children in their bunches would run to abandoned slaughterhouses and use them as they were playgrounds to play with their furry and feathery friends. Random strangers in cities would gather into dancing groups and would play together at the squares or would be sitting on the lawns discussing philosophy or the beauty of cosmos. People would enjoy each other's company in gardens and juice bars. Weapon factories, cigarette production plants, fast food restaurants, and butcher's shops would be forgotten on a day like this. Banks, schools, and churches would be deserted. Possibly, new versions of these institutions, filled with light and consciousness, would be planned in the future. Everything would change also in hospitals and health clinics. Doctors would heal their patients with love, provided the patients still have not healed themselves on their own. People would help each other and would respect their neighbors, literally seeing themselves in them. Everyone would be able to easily perceive in others the same God in one of its many manifestations. We would always greet ourselves in others with excitement. We would all be able to see the same diamond hidden at the bottom of each heart, within ourselves as well as within our neighbors, both up and down. This vision, however, is just an utopian idea. It's an utopia that has the right to blossom only within you. The world cannot wake up in that manner in just one day. People are not ready for a unanimous change at the same time. And that is good. Why? Because this way each dancer is able to dance his or her own dance to the end. Each god and goddess can recognize their face in their own right moment, being certain that they owe that awakening only to themselves. How can someone be awakened without first getting awakened on his or her own? How could someone who received divinity as a gift from someone else become God? Nobody can get awakened as long as he or she hands a decision about his or her divinity to somebody else. Maybe this world is not destined for enlightenment but for a fall. Maybe. However, you, yes, you, don't need to wait. You can wake up just now. If your heart is moved when you are hearing these words, then wake up as much as you can in this very moment. Open your eyes wide and don't prolong your coma. See that you can just shed from your shoulders the net of the sense of guilt, which restricts your every move. By making one decisive move to reject all that is not yours, you will get out of the trap that has kept you hostage from the time immemorial. You can wake up just now by simply recognizing your innocence, beauty, and uniqueness. You can wake up by recognizing the innocence to all people, all creatures, no matter who they are and what they say or do. After all, it is you who is creating this whole world. Do you remember? This world exists in your heart. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow you will wake up in a parallel reality where people are dancing their unique dance and look into each other's eyes with love and respect. Maybe you will find yourself on the other side of the mirror, somewhere where no one kills their animal friends, in concentration camps called slaughterhouses. Maybe thousands of people will settle down with you on a green glade just for the sake of experiencing the miracle of their own existence, and to share this miracle with others as much as they can. Or maybe together you will create beautiful sculptures from the rubbish thrown away by other people in a different world. Maybe you will spontaneously and effortlessly join a group of yoga practitioners, or you will sit down to meditate. Maybe you will laugh looking at the cabaret, or you will go into raptures over a virtuoso music performance. Or maybe it will be you who will play your song of freedom. Maybe you will sit down in the shadow of a white friendly tree and you will write an inspirational poem about a fulfilled love towards yourself. Maybe it will be you who will play your song of freedom. Maybe you will sit down in the shadow of a white friendly tree and you will write an inspirational poem about a fulfilled love towards yourself, about a discovered innocence, about the diamond hidden in every creature. Who knows? After all, everything is possible here in the secret chamber of your heart. And the world that you see is just a reflection of that you are creating there on your own.